welcome back to Glitz and Glitter. Today I have a custom tumbler order. They had a few requests, so I figured I would make a tutorial and send it on out for you guys to watch. So all I did was take a stainless steel tumbler and I spray painted it with Rust-Oleum. This is white Rust-Oleum. And after that, when it was completely dry, I went over it with this Mod Podge satin clear acrylic sealer, just so I wouldn't have any fish eyes, because that has happened in the past. Okay, and then I did put one coat of resin on here, and I added a little sparkle to it. I know you can't see it now, because what I'm doing now is I'm taking this 220 grit sandpaper, and I'm just going over it very lightly to get any little things off. There wasn't much on here. And then I'm going to go around this edge, and I'm going to take it down to expose just a little bit of the silver from the stainless steel. So when I put the next coat of resin on, it will be sealed in completely. Now this one is going to be getting a Disney character on a water slide, and also some vinyl decals I will cut on my Cricut to go on here. And it will also be getting a little saying that they requested to have on it. So this one's going to be a lot of fun. And let's get started. Now, once I got this little bit of silver exposed, that way the resin, I'm going to be putting resin on right now, one more clear coat, so that the decals and the water slides will go on nice and evenly. And then we'll be ready to do that part. So let's get started. Thanks for joining me. Once you have it all sanded, don't forget you're going to want to wash it good with alcohol and get all that residue off. You don't want anything in your resin. We're trying to get this as smooth as possible so we don't have to sand it down again. All right, it's ready. Let's get some resin on this. Okay, sorry, so I completely forgot to turn the camera on when I was putting this layer of resin on, so I'll get you on another layer just in case you're new to resin and tumblers. I will show you how I do it, but as you can see, I did add a little bit of glitter to it along with my iridescence that I usually add, just because the iridescence I'm not sure was going to look good enough on the white background, and I don't want to put the iridescence over the decals, so I did want to get it onto the white. So that's just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit. This is a 30-ounce straight tumbler, and I did use 15 mLs of resin on this coat, and I barely put any glitter into it because I didn't want it to overtake. So make sure you get the bottom, and then I torched it. I got all the bubbles out, and then we're going to go ahead, and as soon as this is dry, we'll get the water slide on it. Hang on. Okay, I printed this water slide out on an inkjet printer, which means we need to seal this ink in. So I'm going to take this Mod Podge sealer out in the garage, and I'm going to spray this little picture a set of 3 times, 3 separate times, and I'm going to let it dry completely in between each time I spray it. All right, let's start with the decal. Now, since this one's not for me, I'm not going to just eyeball it. I do want to make sure it is straight. So I put this wax paper on the back of it, and I just left a teeny tiny bit at the top, the adhesive on there. So if I need to pull it up and reposition it, I can without having my letters come off. So just go ahead and get it positioned, make sure it's where you want it. Then take off that backing, it comes right off. And then I'm going to slice between each of these words because the tumbler is round and this is a long phrase, I guess you would say. And I only want to put one word down at a time. I don't want it getting ahead of me. So I do slice between words so I can do one line at a time. So that's how I'm going to do this part. And then I'll give you a tip when I get past this part. right here is where I realized, oh my gosh, I grabbed my my heavy Cricut transfer tape, my strong grip, and I was just like, oh, my heart sunk. I knew this was going to take me quite a while. I had to take off one letter at a time, and I really this took me probably 15 to 20 minutes. I did not want to do this over again. So I was going to make sure this went on the first time. So I will fast forward this. So lesson learned, don't be in a hurry when you do your when you do your decals. Make sure you use the right transfer tape or you are going to pay the price in your time. So I will fast forward this until we get to the next section. All right, I didn't make you watch that entire thing. I wanted to get to this part. So, this is what I should have used. I'm using painter's tape because the leaves and the flowers that I'm using are just as thin as these letters are. And if you use the only downfall to using this tape is you can't see through it that well. So, if you're doing words, it's kind of hard to line up. It's okay if you do the way I did it with the wax paper. Excuse me. But if you don't use the wax paper, you have to be accurate and you can't really see through the blue tape. So these are going on randomly, so I wasn't too concerned, but they come right off as you can see. All right, it's time for the water slide. So I just took my water slide. It's completely dry. Like I said, I coated it 3 times. Now I'm just going to stick it in some warm water and I'm just going to let it sit here until it starts sliding off its backing paper. Once it starts sliding, then we know it's ready to use. Now, on a water slide, you don't have the luxury of putting wax paper on the back of it. You have to get it right the first time. But the good thing about it is when it's wet and you can put water on your cup as well, it will slide around. So it's not like a sticker, it will still slide a little bit. So I do mine very little bit at a time. I didn't want to do this twice. And I just take a little bit off at a time and I use a silicone brush to squeegee out any water as I go. So I get it lined up exactly where I want it, and then I do it super slowly. Okay, this is the next day after I put the water slide on. I wanted it to dry completely overnight. I didn't want any water left behind it. And then after that was dry, last night I went outside and I took that same Mod Podge sealer and I sprayed down the entire cup with a sealer just to seal in all these decals. I didn't want any of them lifting, no reason for them to lift when I put these next few layers of resin on. So since I haven't shown the resin getting put on, I'm going to go ahead and do that now, and I will be putting on 2 to 3 coats depending on how much it takes to cover all these decals. And then I will just be cleaning it up and giving it to the special owner. So enjoy this. This is me putting on 1 coat. I will not bore you with putting on the next 2 coats. So the next images you will see are of the final product. Thanks a bunch for coming in to watch the tutorial. Please subscribe if you have not done so. I would really appreciate that. I really love making these tutorials for you guys. Make a comment. I love to read them all. I do interact with all of you. And I will see you guys on the next video. Have a blessed day. Bye bye.